I grew up in Gainesville, and when I was 16, my family moved to New Orleans. Now, growing up here, all my friends either wanted to go to the University of Florida and that was it, or they couldn't wait to go away somewhere. So my father always teased me that my only reason that I could see was good about moving away was that I got to go to the University of Florida and go away to school. And I had a great time being here.
And probably our favorite memory are all the things we did together. We met our freshman year.
Right, we did.
In college. And we just had a great time while we were here. And next year's our 50th wedding anniversary.
Exactly.
Some of my favorite memories deal with the biology courses. For example, running through Payne's Prairie in the water looking for weird animals, riding in the back of Dr. Ford's pickup truck looking for yet more ferns, those kinds of things.
Part of the largest GrandGuard reunion weekend we've had here.
And I remember when I arrived here and I found that there were 14,000 of us. And were we co-eds? The happy news is there were 4 guys to every girl.
So when we got to Gainesville, I went to the orientation, and there was this beautiful young lady named Darlene Dunn, who was my orientation leader, and she took us around the campus. And I had never seen hills before, growing up in Lauderdale. And I had to see pine trees, and I had to see all these beautiful buildings, and I was just overwhelmed on what a beautiful girl. I said, what a great place I've got to heaven.
Unlike you fraternity sorority people who had socials to go to get a date for us was really difficult. And you had to make a decision, do I have the guts to call Broward or Rawlings or Jennings, and whoever answers the phone, ask if you'll go have coffee with me.
And then my favorite thing, Pat mentioned signing out when you had to leave to in the evening to go out, and I would faithfully sign out that I was going to the library. However, I went to the Gatorland Bar, and we drank pitchers of beer and danced the night away. Then when you got back to the dorm, what you had to do was walk up a ramp. Have you ever tried to walk up a ramp when you've been drinking a lot? A very difficult challenge. And I only had to go before the dorm council a couple of times.
The most memory that I have is in a 45-day period, I got out of the Air Force, turned 21, bought a house, bought a car, got married, started a full-time job, and started the University of Florida. After 4 years, they decided they wanted to get rid of me, but they told me that if I was good, they'd graduate me. And
or when I played with Steve Spurrier and Bruce Culpepper, and I didn't make nearly the impact that they did, but over the years I've told people that. People just, really? What position did you play? I said, clarinet.
Remember curfew? Locus parentis. I mean, you go from your mom and dad's curfew to the school curfew, which was stricter than my mom and dad's. I mean, we had to come in. Do you remember running down to the dorm or down to the sorority house, you know, trying to get there before the house mother locked the door and wrote you up? I mean, it was miserable. I don't think we ever saw the end of a movie.
I was involved in student government. I remember kidnapping a candidate for president. We took him down to the Ocala National Forest, and he couldn't qualify. The next day, to run for president, because for sure, he would have beat us. And the bait that we used to get him down there, well, that's a whole different story.
It's tough to follow up such incredible stories from back in your time, but it was incredible to hear that not much has changed. I will always look back on my time here, just as you all do, with happiness and excitement and full of fond memories. Being a Gator does not only last 4 years, it truly, truly lasts a lifetime.
I remember they would have the thing up there where they were how many openings were still available.
Good memories. I celebrated my 21st birthday at the Thirsty Gator, and I remember the owner was so glad that I was finally of age. At 21, he bought beer for everybody at the Thirsty Gator.
There you go. But the following year, Jennings Hall opened. Valerie and I and several were the first in Jennings Hall, which stands today, although then there were no electrical devices allowed whatsoever. And
it was one of the first air-conditioned dorms.
That's true.
Yes.
One of the most memorable things that I remember being in the class of '58 was the lack of co-eds, because the men outnumbered the women 4-1. And actually, I was in the engineering discipline, and in all the engineering departments combined, there was only one woman. So we didn't have a chance to interact with women very much.
Probably my most favorite memory was in, I think it was in 62 or 63, actually 63. We went to Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama and Bear Bryant for the very first time in Tuscaloosa. And that night, when the team flew back, they flew into the Gainesville Regional Airport. Many of us drove out there and welcomed them. And at University and 13th, the SAE house used to be right on the corner there, the SAE house did. There was a huge bonfire right in the intersection of University and 13th. It went on until 3:30 in the morning to celebrate that victory over Alabama.
Welcome to the Grand Guard Induction Dinner and Dance, honoring that wonderful class of 1964. We congratulate all of you for returning to the scene of your college days and meeting up with folks who knew you when. Tonight, we devote our attention to recognizing the class of 1964 and welcoming them into this time-honored Gator tradition we know as the Grand Guard.
So the University of Florida is really doing great things for both the state and the nation and the world for that matter. And we owe enormous credit for this progress to loyal alumni like you. You can see your legacy in our greatest buildings, our most generous scholarships, and our most important endowed professorships. So on behalf of the University of Florida, thank you. I am honored and proud to congratulate all of you in the class of '64 as this university's newest Gator Grand Guards. Go Gators!
My favorite memory was I had some excellent professors that saved my academic career. I unfortunately, mea culpa, flunked out of engineering and went to building construction. And those fine men, mostly older men, provided me an opportunity to get a college degree.
And I remember also how trustworthy everybody was in the business community of we students. Some of us lived kind of hand to mouth, but if you didn't have money that day or that week, you could go over to the College Inn or the Gold Coast restaurant specifically, and they'd say, that's okay, here, take a $15 card for meals, meal card, and pay us when you can. Now that doesn't sound like a lot today, but $15 would kind of carry you for 5 or 6 days.
It was just a lot of. I remember the year for homecoming, I was the AD Pi house chairman for our house decorations.
Yeah.
And we had like a mini tornado. And we had worked like forever putting things up. And it kind of went on the other side of the street and blew down everybody's on the opposite side of the street.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
And I kept thinking, I shouldn't feel good about this, but I do. And then we won because ours was still standing.
Yeah.
Would you please stand and join me in welcoming the newest Grand Guard initiates, the class of 1964.
Lance Frankham. Steve Friedman.
Came when I was walking to class probably as a sophomore in 1954 or 1955 in that year, sophomore, junior, along University Avenue. And as I walked to class, this large blue sedan pulled up, the back door opened, and I was asked if I wanted a ride. The person in the back seat was the president of the University of Florida, J. Wayne Rice. And I was so surprised, I didn't know what to say. So I said yes. And so I got a ride to class with him. We had a very nice chat, and it made me feel like I was really important that the president of the university would take an interest in me and give me a ride to class.
And I have a lot of memories. Probably one of my favorite ones was
when I first began at the university, sitting in the auditorium, and Dr. Wrights got up and announced that I should look to the person on my right, look to the person on my left, and that person might not be there the following year.
I'd have to say that I had a wonderful time. It was a great experience. I never regretted going to Florida. I've been very proud of the fact that I did. Very glad that I did. And I want to wish all my classmates the same happy thoughts and the same good things that I've had for the last 50 years. Much of it due to the University of Florida and what I learned at Florida. Thank you, and go Gators.